Hello and welcome to NDTV Profit. You're watching IPO Adda, and the company coming out with IPO is Western Carriers. It's a multi-model logistics company which basically caters to multiple sectors including metals and FMCG sector here. It's the company's IPO is opening on September 13th, closes on September 18th, price between 163 to 172 rupees per share. The company is coming out with a fresh issue of 400 crores and an OFS of nearly 93 crores, and it's nearly 28% of the post IPO equity that's come for what that's in offer here, and the company is valued at a little over 1750 crores at the upper end of the price band. And joining me today is Kanishka Sethia, who is the promoter director and CEO of the company. Mr. Sethia, thank you very much for joining us on NDTV Profit. Sir, to begin with, it's an emerging sector and a very sunrise sector as well. Can you take us through what is the purpose of the 400 crores that you're raising through fresh issue?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's an honor.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For the sector, this sector is, I feel personally that it has a lot of, lot of prospect going forward. I think this is going to be one of the industries which is really going to be a sunshine industry for the rest of the decade. And we are positioned to be a 4PL supply chain company in which we cater to the entire requirements of our customers, doing end-to-end logistics and a single-stop logistics. The fundraise is basically for funding our growth. We are looking at a raise of about 400 crores of primary, half of which will go into our debt servicing, a portion of it will go into our capex, and a portion of it will be into general corporate purposes.
Give me a sense of what is the current borrowings that you have, and once that repayment of debt happens, how will the balance sheet look like?
Right. So the current borrowings, which are mostly towards working capital, is north of 200 crores. A substantial portion of it is what we are planning to clear out with this fundraise.
And when you're saying that you're going to use half of that for capex, right, which is 152 crores odd, which will be used for capex, what kind of capex are you looking at?
So 100 odd crores is towards capex. We are looking at we are in the business of logistics multimodal, so we are looking at some investments in containers which are both 20 feet and 40 feet, some specialized containers, container handling specialized equipments like reach stackers, as well as some trailers that we need to run our supply chain. That is, the broad spectrum of the capex that we are looking at for the current.
You have an asset-light model. Can you elaborate on the asset-light model?
Absolutely, sir. So our business is asset-light. So whatever we can, lease from market or take from market, we take. The only assets that we get onto our books are the critical ones that we need for running our supply chains, critical components like container reach stackers or specially designed equipment. That's the only assets that we purchase. Everything else, we remain completely asset-light. Asset-light model helps us in being very flexible and upscaling or downscaling basis our customers' needs. Our focus remains on solving the customer's supply chain problems. So we are not an asset-based company. We are not an asset-heavy company. We are very focused on realizing the solution for the customer, and the only assets that we need to run the supply chain are the ones that we purchase, sir.
Give me also a sense of the kind of supply chain synergies or the efficiencies that can come in, because since you do end-to-end logistics for your clients, what kind of synergies and efficiencies can come in, and how does it help you in improving your margins?
Absolutely, sir. That's a perfect question. Actually, our whole focus is in creating a synergy, in creating an end-to-end supply chain solution for our customer so that there are not redundancies in the supply chain that they're working at. We try to do the work in an entire holistic picture, a single window, and not do the work in silos. The idea is to add value to the customer's supply chain, make it more robust, make it more future forward. Our idea is always to see how we can improve the efficiencies going into the supply chain for our customers by making sure that there are no redundancies in the system. And this is what our core expertise is to basically combine supply chains, create a multimodal supply chain, which is what we are experts at. And our multimodal supply chains are very rail focused. So it's a railway plus road, etc. So the idea is that the customer gets an end-to-end solution. We have our skin in the game, and we are in a position to solve the problems for the customers and take care of the logistics requirements.
With rail, when you say it's rail focus, I assume that it's basically primarily on rails that the logistics you're looking at. How is that traffic growing for you going ahead? Also, what kind of margins do you get in that rail logistics?
So I'm actually losing you in bits, but I think you're asking about rail logistics. So I think the future of rail logistics is huge, sir. As a multimodal carrier in this country, I think we are at the cusp of something really great. Multimodal logistics is not something which has been around in our country for a very long time. But as the volumes and the size and scale of customers and companies expand, we feel that the role of multimodal is going to go ever increasing. And, people, especially the customers, are going to see tremendous benefits. I mean, it's not like, 30, 40 years ago where you could set up a small scale plant and run it in a 1PL or a 2PL, placing trucks and trailers. Now, the whole concept is to have a knowledge base at which you can actually run your entire supply chain. And our focus is to actually treat our customer as our end customer. So our focus is to ensure that the deliveries to the end customer of our principals happen in the condition, in the speed, in the time that we promise them to do it, sir.
Give me a sense of your revenue growth, because you've been growing at the CAGR of, or compounded annual growth rate of, nearly 4.6% per annum. I was looking at your volumes, TEU volumes as well. They are growing at 10%. Why hasn't your revenue growing at the same pace as your volumes?
It's an excellent question, sir. So if you see the growth in TEUs of almost 10-11% over the last year, this is despite and in spite of a black swan event that we are all living through, which is the Middle East crisis. Despite that, despite there being slippages in the export numbers out of the western seacoast, we have still managed to grow 10%, sir. And that basically gives you a sense of the robustness of this business, sir. We are, very confident at the work that we are doing, and we are very positive at the outlook of the work that is happening now, sir.
Which also means that you're not able to pass on the pricing which has come in because of the Middle East crisis, because supply chain prices and container rates have gone up because of that event. And if you're not able to grow the revenues, or it basically means that the pricing has been very tough for you and you're not being able to pass on to the customers?
No, it's not like that, sir. Actually, it's a mix of both. The volumes also go down in exports, so there is shrinkage in the volumes if you don't do exports through the western seacoast, say the JNPT, the Gujarat, Kandla, Mundra ports. That reduces your volumes there. But the margins remain good, the margins remain steady, and once you come out of the crisis, you can hope to see plenty of growth going forward as well, sir. That's the hope, not only for me, but for the rest of the industry as well.
What is the kind of pricing increases that have happened in the last, say, 12 to 18 months?
So the price increase basically is a factor of lots of things, sir. We basically do the end-to-end supply chain. So depending on what component goes up or down, the pricing is a very dynamic sort of a price. So some of the contracting which has shifted from the western seacoast to the eastern seacoast will see a price shrinkage. Some contracts which have actually gone from the eastern to the western or to the southern have seen a price increase. So it's a factor of what the customer wants. We are here to run the supply chain for our customers, sir. So whatever their export obligations are, either to the the Far East, the Middle East, or Europe or America, we are here to service them, sir. So depending on their own order booking, we are able to, twist and turn our supply chains to meet their requirements, sir.
You had a margin of nearly 9%, 8.6% on core revenues, basically. It's grown from in the previous year from 7.5% odd. What is the kind of upside that you see in logistics business from a EBITDA margins point of view?
So, sir, hopefully, the margins are pretty good. Our ROC and ROE numbers are quite good, one of the best in the industry, if I can say quite humbly. And as we, progress in our supply chain journey in trying to strengthen our supply chains, getting rid of redundancies, improving our systems and operations, we are hopeful that we will be able to take this on an upwards journey going forward, sir.
Are double-digit or early teen margins possible in your business?
Sir, anything is possible. It depends on what the opportunity is and what the kind of work that we are doing, sir. So it's hard to make a general statement, but depending on the project and the opportunity, there are chances of seeing good growth in numbers, sir.
So give us a sense of the kind of customer profile you have. What we see from the RHP is that nearly half of the customers are from the metal sector. What is the kind of growth that you've seen for customers from this sector? Because Tata Steel, Hindalco, these are some of your clients which you serve.
Absolutely, sir. So I would just want to take a second to step back. So we are actually, sir, not either sector dependent or customer dependent. Though we draw 50% of our revenues from metals, the remaining 50% is a broad mix of pharma, FMCG, industrial chemicals and MSME. Coming to your question about metals, we have a natural hedge in our metals business as well, because we cater to all metals, sir. Primarily steel, aluminium, zinc are the three large metal clusters that we work with. And so they have their own cycles, which basically gives us a natural hedge. The numbers in the metal sectors have been robustly growing, sir. We are a business dependent on the growth of our principals. And luckily, we have very stellar clients who have been growing very robustly over the last 2 decades. And there is plenty of scope of expansion as well. Most of our clients are under large expansion projects, be it in aluminium, steel. And so, we look forward to actually partaking of that growth opportunity with them as the expansion projects goes on.
Mm-hmm. What kind of pricing agreement that you have, because given the fact that your business is subject to geopolitical risk, risk of fuel cost, and there are other risks which is associated with logistics and supply chain. How do you put a contract together for with your clients so that the risk is minimal on your balance sheet?
It's a wonderful question, sir. So usually two large components in the rail-focused multi-mode that we have. One is the railway haulage, the other is the road haulage. Both of these are in most of the contracts taken care of by standard escalation and de-escalation clauses. For example, for the movement by road, we have what is known as a DPVC, which is a diesel price variation clause. So if the price of fuel goes up, as a formula, our rates go up, and vice versa. Same is the story with most of the contracts which happens for railways, which basically container movement depends on the haulage. So if it goes up, we have a pass-through. It comes down, we have a pass-through. So we are, in most cases, completely hedged for these costs.
Once you undertake the capex which you need, what is the kind of the capacity that will go up for you in terms of the number of in terms of the volumes that you can manage going forward? So,
sir, that's an excellent question. So the capex that we are doing, which is primarily what we have done over the last 2 years, is in some of these handling equipments as well as some of these specialized containers. The business of specialized containers and regular containers is seeing good traction both in the domestic market as well as the EXIM market. And we are hopeful that for the capex that we do, we should get a quantum increase both in the top line as well as bottom line. These are projects which are highly specialized, and we've been working on these for a few years. So we are very keenly focused on this business. We are very, I should say, positively inclined towards these businesses, sir. And we are seeing good traction with our existing customers as well as with a lot of prospective customers as well, because we think that we'll be able to add substantial value to their supply chains.
When you said value, because I read in your RHP that you're looking at providing value-added services, and that would also help in improving your operating margins. Can you give us an idea of the kind of value-added services that you would be providing, and going forward, what kind of impact that will have on your margins expand?
Correct, sir. So we, like I said, sir, we do a single stop, one window logistics solution. The idea is that we take care of the entire supply chain. So some of the value added services that you can look at is lashing, choking, fumigation, containerization, palletization, first mile transport, last mile transport, custom clearance, stevedoring, packing, relogistics. So it basically, sir, it's a gamut of services. Not each service is required by a customer. We create a customized solution to what the customer wants. Needs of an FMCG customer towards, say, packing, knitting is very different from the needs of a metal customer who's doing maybe bulk import of scrap. So depending on what their requirement is, sir, we pick and choose from our bouquet of services and offer them, a string of services. And it's the customers who are the last person to decide what they want, what they don't want. We don't force our customers to make any changes to the supply chains or to make any changes to their way of working till they are comfortable with it, till they see an opportunity to actually, make their supply chain stronger and more efficient. Our goal always remains to basically, streamline the supply chains for our customers in the little which way which we can, sir.
You have an ongoing relationship with Concor, and Concor has been put on the block by the government for a divestment and a strategic sale to a new owner. What kind of relationship that you have, and if and when there is a change in ownership, will there be an impact on you?
Excellent question, sir. So we are one of the largest business associates of Concor. We have been for several years. We take, we book the rakes from them and do the multimodal contracting for our customers through them. It's a very good relationship that we've had. We've had a lot of support in our journey with them. But if you ask me honestly, I don't see it being of much difference to us if it goes to a private hand, because I am giving business to them of my customers, and that relationship would remain the same even if it is sold. I don't have any conjecture of the sale, etc. But I think the work that we are doing is something which is a win-win both for the customer as well as Indian Railways. So I think going forward we shouldn't have much of headwinds in this either ways.
You have a very high working capital days, 96 days at the end of FY24. Means your receivables were around 114 days. How do you plan to bring down these receivable days and the net working capital days? I know you spoke about the fact that you can use some of the proceeds for working capital, but how do you reduce your receivable days?
So, sir, the receivables as an industry as a whole went up during the time of the Corona crisis, sir. The principals were not having the bandwidth to take care of the payables, etc. The numbers had actually ballooned at that time, sir. They have started shrinking now, and we are on a path of, continuously shrinking these days. Our target is to shrink it by about 4-5 days every calendar year going forward as well. We are making some progress with terms of our internal systems and processes in trying to see how quickly, we can finish our end of the deal. And we are working very closely with our customers in trying to get this cycle reduced. But this is more of a pan-industry situation, sir, not only just us.
Because your payable days are 18 days, so you have to pay much faster, and you're receiving almost after 90 days, after a quarter. So if that is a scene, it doesn't it bring strain on your balance sheet, and also increases your cost as well?
No, absolutely, it's a fair point, sir, and it's something that as an industry we are all working towards it, sir. And we have very, very good customers, the top marquee customers in this country, and so we are working very closely with them in trying to see how much robustly we can reduce our cycle, sir. So that's something which is a work in progress, not only for us as a company but for us as an industry, sir.
Mr. Kanishka Sethia, thank you very much for joining us today on NDTV Profit. Your IPO is opening on September 13th, closes on 18th. 163 to 172 rupees per share is the price band. The company is raising 400 crores in fresh issue, and there's an OFS of 93 crores, 92.9 crores, which is that. So the total IPO size is 429.9 crores, giving the company a market value of 1754 crores at the upper end of the price band. Thank you for watching IPO.